In the vast universe of the Sailor Guardian's legacy, there is one soldier whose presence feels like the ocean itself, deep, elegant, and mysterious. The galaxy knows her as Sailor Neptune, but the sea calls her its own. She is the quiet depth beneath the glittering surface, the whisper of the ocean before the storm, the unshakable calm that exists even in the eye of chaos. Her presence is a paradox, delicate yet unyielding, graceful yet dangerous, soft-spoken yet commanding. Her beauty is not a fragile ornament, but a weapon as potent as her strength, a testament that elegance and resilience are not opposites, but reflections of the same truth. Sailor Neptune's civilian name is Michiru Kaiyo. Michiru means to rise or to reach completion. Symbolically, Michiru is someone whose presence feels whole, but also carries a quiet melancholy, as if she's aware that even fullness eventually wanes. Kaiyo consists of two kanji letters. Kai means sea or ocean, and O means king or ruler. Combined, Kaiyo means sea king or ocean king, based on the Japanese name of the planet Neptune, Kaiyo-se, sea king star. This ties directly to her planetary namesake Neptune, the Roman god of the sea. Combined, her full name Michiru Kaiyo means rising sea king. Her birthday is on March the 6th, making her a Pisces, a water sign. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, planet of art, music, and imagination, directly mirroring Michiru's musical genius. Sailor Neptune is more than just a sailor guardian. She is an echo of the planet itself, woven from its astronomical wonders, astrological mysteries, and ancient myths. In her, the celestial and divine converge, the same forces that guide the tides and stir the human soul flow through her being. She stands as a living embodiment of Neptune's beauty, power, and enigma, carrying within her the stories written in both the stars and the sea. At the farthest edge of the known solar system drifts Neptune, a world with the color of the deepest seas, distant in perpetual twilight. It is a planet of paradox. From afar, it appears tranquil, a serene sapphire suspended in the black. Yet beneath that calm swirls the fastest winds in the solar system, storms so vast that could engulf the earth. Sailor Neptune mirrors this duality perfectly. Her grace is the surface, her power the unseen current. Like her celestial namesake, she exists on the periphery, not at the center of the crowd, but on the edges, watching, shaping events with tides both subtle and unrelenting. Astrologically, Neptune is the dreamer's planet, ruler of Pisces, Michiru's own sun sign. It governs the realms of art, intuition, and the subconscious, dissolving the boundaries between reality and illusion. Those touched by its influence often see the world not just as it is, but as it could be, and they carry within them an aching awareness of beauty and impermanence. This is the essence of Michiru's violin. Each note is both a creation and a farewell, a fleeting sound that exists only in the moment it's heard. Sailor Neptune's energy is one of compassion, but also of sacrifice. The willingness to lose oneself for a vision, for a cause, for love. In mythology, Neptune, the Roman god of the sea, ruled the oceans with a hand both generous and unforgiving. To those who respected him, he offered safe passages and bountiful waters. To those who defied him, he unleashed tempests and wrecked ships without mercy. The sea was his realm, and the sea is Michiru's essence. Calm and nurturing with her gentleness, devastating when roused to defend what she holds dear. Her talisman, the deep aqua mirror, is no mere weapon. It is the truth of the waters themselves, reflecting not just what is visible, but what lies hidden in the depths. To be bound to Neptune is to live in a world of tides. It is to know that beauty and danger are siblings, that stillness and violence are separated only by a breath. Sailor Neptune carries all of this within her, the vastness, the mystery, the elegance, and the storms. Like her planetary namesake, she stands as both muse and force of nature, a reminder that what is distant is not weak, and what is serene is not harmless. In her, the ocean's eternity finds human form. Art is often mistaken for ornament, for something delicate and passive, but in Michiru, it is an instrument of power. Her violin is not merely wood and string, it is the voice of her soul. Every note she draws is a ripple on the surface of an unseen ocean, a wave carrying unspoken truths to those who can listen deeply enough. In her hands, music becomes more than performance. It becomes invocation. It summons the vastness of her element, the water's capacity to soothe, to grieve, and when the tide turns, to destroy. Painting, too, is her domain, and like the ocean's own shifting colors, her art captures what words cannot hold. To paint is to preserve a moment from the erosion of time, to anchor memory in form and pigment. Yet Michiru's art does not cling to permanence. It embraces transience, knowing that the beauty of a wave lies in its passing, not in its stillness. Each brushstroke is a dialogue between her inner world and the endless expanses of her imagination. Even in battle, her artistry lingers. Her movements are precise, as if choreographed by an unseen rhythm. Her attacks are not blunt acts of violence, but perfectly composed crescendos. Where others clash with chaos, Michiru strikes with the grace of a symphony's final note, resonant and complete. Her mastery is not confined to the stage or the canvas. It extends to the battlefield, where elegance itself becomes a weapon. To watch Michiru is to witness the fusion of discipline and intuition. The discipline of years spent perfecting craft, and the intuition of someone who can feel the currents beneath the surface of any encounter. Her talents are not trophies, they are expressions of her nature, for the ocean does not lean to be vast, nor the tide to be rhythmic. They simply are. And so, Michiru creates, performs, and fights not because she chooses to, but because she could not be otherwise. There is a quiet cruelty in destiny. It does not ask permission before it takes. Michiru was not born solely to be a soldier. She was born to create. Her hands were shaped for the violin, her eyes for the colors of the sea, her heart for the delicate pulse of beauty. She could have lived a life where days were measured not by battles and losses, but by concerts and canvases, by the applause of audiences and the salt of the sea air on summer afternoons. But the ocean within her was claimed by another tide, the tide of destiny. As Sailor Neptune, she carries the weight of a mission that eclipses the life she might have had. Each note she plays is stolen from a time she could have been allowed to give to music alone. Each painting she completes is a fragment of a dream she cannot wholly inhabit. Her artistry survives, but it lives in the shadow of urgency. Rehearsals interrupted by the call to fight. Canvases left unfinished because the world might not have the luxury of tomorrow. Sacrifice for Michiru is not a single act, but a constant erosion. She does not simply give up her passions once. She gives them up every day. In countless small moments when she must choose the mission over herself. She does not weep for this loss. The ocean does not cry for the rivers it absorbs, but there is a loneliness in her that music cannot soothe and the sea cannot carry away. And yet, perhaps it is precisely because she knows what she has lost that her art is so haunting. The violin sings with the voice of dreams denied. Her paintings capture beauty as if it could vanish at any moment, because she knows it can. In fulfilling her mission, Michiru has traded the fullness of her own life for the possibility that others might not keep theirs. It is a bargain she made long ago, and she would make again, though the cost is measured in the quiet ache beneath her elegance. Among the sailor guardians, Michiru stands as the quiet pillar, the one who bends but never breaks. Strength in her does not roar. It does not flash like lightning or blaze like fire. It is the calm of deep waters, the kind that holds their shape even when storms pass overhead, where others might falter under the weight of their mission. She carries it as though it were simply a part of her, as natural and inevitable as the tides return to the shore. The search for talismans was not a mission free of cruelty. It demanded a readiness to sacrifice a single life to save the world, a choice sharp enough to wound even the most disciplined hearts. Haruka, for all her courage, sometimes hesitated beneath that burden, her resolve momentarily shaken by the humanity of those who might be lost. Michiru did not flinch. It was not that she felt less. In truth, she felt deeply, perhaps more than she allowed anyone to know. But she had mastered the art of containing pain, of holding it in still hands until it could no longer control her. This is her mental strength, not the absence of doubt, but the ability to stand steady while doubt rages within. She does not need to shout her convictions. They are carved into her like the groves in a seashell, shaped by years of enduring the pull between her desires and her duty. Her composure is not a mask to hide fragility. It is the expression of a mind that has already walked through every possible consequence and chose her course long before the moment demands it. In the great unspoken hierarchy of endurance, Michiru is the unyielding horizon, the line where the sea and sky meet, constant and unbroken. Others may look at her and see elegance, grace, or artistry, but beneath it all is something rare, the discipline to bear the full truth of their mission without letting it crack the surface. In that way, she's not only the most refined of the guardians, but perhaps the strongest, for she carries the same storms as the rest, yet arrives at shore without a single wave out of place. Michiru Kaio is living proof that strength does not need to shed its softness to be real. She stands as a quiet rebellion against the tired belief that to be strong, a woman must first strip away her elegance, her beauty, and her grace, as if femininity were an obstacle to resilience. In Michiru, the two exist not in tension, but in harmony. She moves like a poem written in water, every gesture refined, every word measured. Yet beneath this delicate surface lies the steel temperament by the tides of her will. She does not need to be rough or harden her voice to command respect. Her power comes not from imitating the masculine, but from embodying the full force of the feminine, the kind that nurtures and destroys with equal conviction, like the sea itself. She wears her beauty as one might wear armor, not because it hides her, but because it reminds her enemies that strength can come wrapped in elegance, and that grace does not mean fragility. In battle, her presence is almost paradoxical. She does not rush forward with reckless force. She advances like the tide, inevitable, deliberate, and unstoppable. There is no need for her to prove herself through aggression. Her confidence is quiet, but it leaves no room for doubt. She has no need to shout that she is strong, because strength flows from her as naturally as the ocean's current, steady, undeniable, and endless. By existing as she is, Sailor Neptune shatters the false dichotomy between beauty and power. She shows that a woman can be delicate without being weak, refined without being passive, elegant without being submissive. She redefines what it means to be formidable, not by rejecting her femininity, but by making it the source of her strength. In her, the world sees that grace can cut as sharply as any blade, and that the ocean's calmest surface can conceal its deepest power. The ocean speaks in many voices, a whispering tide that carries the shore, a mirror that reflects the sky, and a tempest that can shatter even the strongest ship. Sailor Neptune is the embodiment of these voices, her power flowing not in brute force alone, but in the elegance and inevitability of the sea. Every attack she wields is more than a weapon. It is a reflection of who she is, an artist, a seer, and a warrior. Through water's many forms, she commands the battlefield with grace of a symphony and the precision of a tide that always knows when to rise. In her hands, the ocean becomes both poetry and judgment, beauty and destruction, art and inevitability. Her most iconic strike, Deep Submerge, begins with the summoning of an ocean sphere, a globe of pure, swirling blue cradled in her hands before it crashes forward in unstoppable force. It symbolizes the truth that power does not always roar on the surface. Sometimes it waits silently in the deep, unseen but ever present, ready to overwhelm when released. This attack speaks to Michiru's nature, graceful on the outside, but holding unfathomable strength within. Wielding her talisman, the blue aqua mirror, Sailor Neptune calls upon submarine reflection, a move as much about revelation as destruction. The mirror reflects not just physical reality, but the hidden truths beneath, secrets, lies, and intentions stripped bare. This attack symbolizes her role as a seer and a judge. She is not merely a fighter, but an awakener of truth. Just as still waters can act as a mirror, Michiru's composure masks the fact that she sees far more than she reveals. In mythology, mirrors often represent the soul. Here, the deep aqua mirror becomes the instrument that forces her enemies to face themselves before the sea swallows them whole. In Sailor Moon Crystal, Sailor Neptune calls upon her violin, letting the haunting melody summon an immense surge of oceanic force. This is the most intimate of her attacks, for it fuses her art, the truest expression of her soul, with her role as a warrior. Submarine violin tide symbolizes harmony between beauty and destruction, between creation and power. The music lures the listener into a moment of serenity, only for the ocean's force to strike it with an inescapable finality. It is the embodiment of Michiru's duality, the artist who can create beauty so profound it moves the heart, and the soldier who can wield beauty as a weapon when the world demands it. Michiru's love for Haruka is not the feverish blaze of fleeting passion. It is the deep, unending pull of the tide towards the moon. It is a love that does not clamor for attention, but moves with quiet certainty, knowing it is as much a part of her as the ocean is a part of the shore. Around Haruka, her elegance softens into warmth, yet her composure remains. She does not lose herself in love. She expands within it. Her bond is not built on fragile illusions, but on an understanding forged in the shadow of destiny. They have looked into the same abbeys, faced the same cruel choices, and carried the same burdens. Michiru does not love Haruka despite her flaws. She cherishes it, knowing the wind cannot be caged any more than the sea can be stilled. Instead, she moves beside her in perfect counterpoint, the tide to the wind, the calm to the tempest, each balancing what the other lacks, each making the other whole. To Michiru, love is not possession, but partnership. It is the silent hand that finds yours in the dark, the voice that speaks truth without fear, the presence that needs no words to be felt. Her love for Haruka is as unshakable as the ocean's rhythm, changing with the currents, yet eternal in its return. It is not loud, but it is absolute. And in a world where everything can be taken from them, they guard this love fiercely, as the one thing that neither duty or destiny has the right to claim. And so, Sailor Neptune remains not merely as a soldier of justice, but as an eternal current in the ocean of myth. Long after the battles are fought and victories are won, Her essence will still flow like the tide, shaping the shores of memory. She is the deep that holds secrets no storm can touch, the horizon where sea and sky embrace, the silent promise that even in sacrifice there can be beauty. Like the ocean, she is endless, her love without bottom, her strength without measure, her grace without erosion. She reminds us that true power does not need to be loud to be felt, and that elegance is not the absence of strength, but its refinement. In her, the delicate and the indomitable are one, as inseparable as the moon and the tide. And when the world grows still, when the night lays its silver veil across the waters, it is her spirit we hear in the distance, the quiet song of a violin carried on the wind, mingling with eternal whispers of the waves. For Sailor Neptune, like the sea, was never meant to be conquered. She was meant to be revered, and if we listen closely, we may hear her calling, not to summon us in battle, but to remind us that within each of us lies a depth we have yet to discover. For in her reflection, we see what it means to live with purpose, to love without fear, and to face the storms of life with unshakable grace.